On this week's show, 'tis the season, award season that is. And it is time to recognize some of our favorite games of this year. From our favorite Switch titles to our most beloved Nindie games of 2019, 2019 has delivered some truly memorable experiences. And we are going to go down that little memory lane here, and we're going to give you our best of nominees. Not the awards, the nominees. That's right, folks. Strap in because we have a lot to discuss. This is Nintendo Dual Screens episode 130. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Nintendo Dual Screens episode 130 for the week of December 9th, 2019, sponsored by Melted Pins. I am one of your hosts, Stephen Fontana, and with me, as always, each and every week, it is Andy Asimakis. How are you, Andy?
You let me down.
Why's that?
Because I wrote Nindie in caps, hoping for a Nindie, but it didn't happen.
No.
I was like,
it can only happen once.
Could you read my mind? Could you sense what I was going for with that moment?
If you know what, if you had a dot before it, maybe I would have noticed.
Should I put it in bold? Should I put it in Comic Sans
or maybe exclamation point
or
several of them?
A Impact font or a Merriweather or a Nunito? I'm just reading fonts now. Roboto, Spectral, Times New Roman.
You know a lot of fonts. For those of you that are new to Nintendo Dual Screens podcast, this is a Nintendo show where Andy and I are going to bring you the industry news, the hot news, except this week,
except today,
most of the rest of the year. This show is evolving. Remember, this is the last few episodes of Nintendo Dual Screens podcast. This show is evolving to the Dual Screens Games Cast, where Andy and I, and sometimes a third wheel from around the globe, wherever we can find some experts out there, some other podcasters, influencers. It is going to be a general games discussion podcast, so we're going to be very, very excited about that. But right now, it is time to wrap up Nintendo Dual Screens, and the best way that we can do that is with our end of year awards. So this episode is not going to have news. This episode's all going to be about our nominees, our categories and nominees for our Nintendo Dual Screens awards. This will be only Nintendo focused, and then next year, somewhere in January, we will be doing the general Dual Screens awards, which will be on the Dual Screens Games Cast. So you'll still get that, but this is specifically Nintendo because we did play a ton of Nintendo games this year, just an obscene amount of games on our Nintendo Switch. Remember, this show is going to post each and every Monday, even when it changes to the new show. It'll post on Monday mornings for your listening pleasure on your podcast service of choice, including YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify, and of course our host is Podbean. So if you are a Podbean listener, you could download this directly on that app as well. And of course, you can find all of this on dualscreens.com. Please consider leaving reviews anywhere where you can, but specifically on Apple Podcasts, because that really helps with the algorithm. And we haven't gotten one in a very long time, and I hate you all. I mean, I love you all. You could also support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/NDS podcast. Just like our Patreon producer, Alex Gonzalez. We cannot continue to grow without your support, Alex. So we do appreciate you and the rest of our Patreon supporters for everything that you do. And I want to thank most of our Patreon supporters. Almost everyone that is a Patreon supporter came in and hung out during the 12-hour Extra Life Twitch stream that I did yesterday. As of this recording, that was Saturday. We almost raised a couple $100, which, we could do better, and we're going to do better, but it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of work, but thank you all for dropping by and hanging out. I do appreciate it. Remember, if you support us for as little as $1, that $1 gets you a bonus episode every month, and plus you will also get access to our VIP Discord channel where you can hang out with us every single day, because we really do. Also, if you are a Patreon producer, you get to have meetings with us, and if you are a $25 supporter, you get to actually do a podcast with us every month, which we are also behind by, I think, 2. But that's a scheduling thing. That's not just on us. We try and have as many of you on there that can be on there, and it's just the scheduling hasn't worked out. All right, so let's just dive right in, man. We're gonna go. We're skipping the Nindie of the week, I think.
Skipping
right?
all of
Should
it.
we? Well, we're gonna go into let's go into real quick before we talk about our nominees. Let's just go over the game releases, so I don't because you can't go backwards.
Well, what's coming out this week?
Yeah, let's see what's coming out this week.
Doesn't
so
even
this
matter anymore.
Does it? I don't know because Shovel Knight King of Cards is finally coming.
Damn it,
out.
that's a good game. All right, I spoke too soon.
Yep. So yeah, Shovel Knight King of Cards is finally coming out. That's on the 10th.
And
That's only
Showdown.
$10. Yes, and Shovel Knight Showdown is also coming
Holy
out both
shit.
the same day. We have Black Sad and Call of Juarez Gunslinger, which I mentioned last week accidentally. We have River Bond
Ooh, that's a
coming
cute
to
game.
Switch as well. Yeah, River Bond is pretty cool.
Cute game.
Gensuo Skydrift, that is launching at $4 cheaper. Cardpocalypse finally makes its debut on the 12th. I highly recommend that game. Super Epic, The Entertainment War. That looks interesting. I'm going to open that in a new tab. Jamestown Plus, Dead End Job is coming out on the 13th.
That's the Luigi's Mansion ripoff, right?
Yeah, that's the very similar to Luigi's Mansion. But if you don't have that kind of money for Luigi's Mansion, this is launching at $14.44. Event Horizon Space Defense is coming out as well. Travel Mosaics, a Paris tour.
Is that?
Which, no, it's not.
Oh my god, that's like really bad.
A blatant ripoff. Yeah, the cover art is a blatant ripoff of
A Pet's Life? No.
No, the Pixar one.
The other one. With the rabbit and the fox and the sloth.
What the hell is that movie?
What was it called?
Hop? No. Her name was Officer Hop, right? Hops? Officer Hops? Something like that.
Right. It wasn't. Fuck.
It'll
Zootopia.
Zootopia, there it is. Yeah, blatant ripoff of that. Rift Keeper is coming out. I may have gone too far.
Yeah, it's not a lot.
I did go too far.
Oh my god, it's like a legit ripoff.
Yeah. Not good. But let's see the Super Epic The Entertainment War. Let's look at what this is. This is interesting. What is this game? Oh my god. It has I see a Metroidvania-like map. All right, let's see. Video games are dead. In a not-too-distant future dystopia, a single video game development company, Regnant Corp, controls the Orwellian society by enslaving the population with their addictive free games. As a rebellious raccoon, along with your llama steed, you'll explore a surreal castle-like office full of enemies, challenges, secrets, and corporate pigs. Break into their headquarters, uncover the conspiracy, and save video games. This looks like a Metroidvania.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Do we need to get them on the show?
Maybe.
Are you looking at it?
Yeah, I am. I'm kind of into it. I'm not gonna lie. What's on the cover? What is that? A fucking duck llama?
Yeah, some sort of llama. The cat is eating my foot right now, and it's really annoying. As soon as I take off my shoes, he just attacks my feet.
Okay. It's okay.
All right. It is time now to get into our 2019 game, the Nintendo Dual Screens Video Game Awards nominees. It's easy for me to say. Next week, we're going to do a regular news show, and then the following week, for Christmas week, we're going to do our awards. We're going to actually just tell you the winners. Okay? But let's go down to... I don't want to start with the big one, I don't think.
No.
Let's go...
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do Nindie of the Year. I feel like that's a good conversation that we can have to start this.
You gotta say it the right way, though.
It's the Nindie of the Year!
There you go.
So we each picked 2 games for this. And the goal here was to do 2 each for each category, if not 3, if we felt strongly. But we're gonna have a discussion here, and then of course we'll have a discussion offline about it. And then that's how we'll pick a winner. All right, Andy, what's your first pick for Nindie of the
I said Duel once, not twice. Now you're just ruining
Sorry.
it.
Sorry. Go ahead.
My first choice goes to Cadence of Hyrule
Mm.
because
Mm.
for two reasons. One, there's no game that better personifies what Nintendo's all about. It's Zelda's most iconic soundtracks. Plus, it takes it showcases what Nintendo could do if it gave a shit about its franchise a little bit more, and it paired them with a great indie game developer talent. And because of that, it's a great game as well. But the potential it shows for the future, if we see more of this, is huge to me.
Yeah, not my kind of game. I don't know how it really was on a technical standpoint. I don't know if it's really like a game of the year type thing, or like I don't know about that. Um, what I do feel is that just like you said, it definitely looks like it's going to open some doors. It's definitely what Nintendo should be doing with their IP.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And but on the flip side though, like, do we really want any Joe Schmo making a Nintendo game?
Well, that's the thing. They chose a good developer. They didn't choose Joe Schmo, guy.
If Cadence of Hyrule sucked, would they have
Well,
chosen a good developer?
listen, isn't like those CDI games from back in the day. This isn't a licensed game. I'm pretty sure Nintendo went through the vetting process with this and they chose the right developer. And, it's a rhythm game, the music game. And if you played Crypt of the Necrodancer, then this is exactly what that game is. But with the Zelda overlay. And again, if you've played these Zelda games in your childhood, just hearing all the old tracks again, it hits you in the feels, in the gut, in your heart, deep in your scrotum,
right in the crevasse,
grundle. It gets you at times. That's how deep the impact is.
right in the Grankus.
Yes, but yeah, it's an amazing game, and I think it deserves every bit of recognition. I'm not gonna resell it.
My first nominee for Nindie of the Year goes to Sydney Hunter and the Curse of the Mayan. Now, my excitement for this game was palpable. Getting it in my hand was awesome. I think what Sydney Hunter does is it shows exactly how you should make a new game with a retro feel, as opposed to making a new game that suffers from the retro shit. Because this actually iterates on it and makes you feel like you're playing an old game, but it plays better. It's challenging, but not so much so. The only thing that I think it suffers from is that its boss battles could have been a little bit more inspired as far as the actual design of the fights.
Yeah, they're very Mega Man-like. It's just a pattern and a jump and shoot, essentially.
But even the difference is, like, the Mega Man bosses, like, if you did something different, they might have to do something different.
Right.
Based on where you stand, where they stand. In this one, it seems like they just do the same pattern, regardless of where you are.
True.
At least the first couple. It starts to get a little different later. But I think the game does almost everything just perfectly. The way the humor, the storytelling, the level design, the Metroidvania part of everything. The combat is great. The platforming is spot on. The physics is great. The sound is incredible. The music, Andy, oh my God! You're talking about Cadence of Hyrule. The music in Sydney Hunter is so
really good. I love that boss track too. That boss track is really fucking addictive.
Man, it's just seeing a new world for the first time and seeing the powers and the weapons that you get from it and how you're gonna, you're collecting those skulls so you can open more doors, and it's a wonderful game, and I highly recommend it to everybody. So I'm definitely putting it up there for an Indie of the Year. What do you got, Andy? What's your next?
Ooh, the next
nominee.
The next nominee was a guest on the show. And
So is Sydney Hunter, by the way.
yes, it was.
Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
And it was our second deep dive ever on the podcast, and that's for
Mm.
Creature in the Well.
Mm.
Now, this game gets up there for two reasons. Well, there's a whole bunch of reasons. But the two main reasons are it takes it plays with the whole dungeon crawler theme, because you think you're a guy, you're a robot thing, you have a sword like weapon, you're gonna beat some enemies down, some dungeons, Zelda like. Ain't the case at all. It's this weird pinball kind of game where you're whacking balls to light up little orbs, and you're trying to power up these doors and go through these little dungeons. So it's not your typical dungeon crawling game. Now, the second reason is, for an indie game, it has an amazing art style and it's very cinematic. Just the fixed camera angles, the way they swoop and zoom in at times to capture certain moments. The creature, for example, when it comes out of its little hole to taunt you at times during the game, it just felt like a very unique experience. Like, we can talk about Sydney Hunter. It's familiar. We know what it's going to be going in. But this game, not really. And it always caught me off guard as I played it. Like, the boss fights, quote unquote, are not really boss fights. And it's fun, above all. And a very simplistic, yet very impactful soundtrack.
Yeah, it's very they do have a very good use of the music. Like they don't overdo it.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure. Kind of reminds me of how you described Death Stranding a little bit.
Oh God, yeah.
With the music. My second nominee for the Nindie of the year is Sparklight. That game's a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
There's only one issue I really take up with it, and it's that I really don't think they had to do the rogue part of it.
I agree.
I think it could have just been set levels, and you could still grind it. Like, you could still reset the enemies. I mean, you do the same thing in Zelda. Like, when you're going around looking for hearts, leave the screen, go back, kill more enemies, hope they drop hearts. You could still do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like upgrade and stuff like that. But I think if the stuff was just in one place, it would have been great. But everything else about that game is just mint. The sprite work is probably the best I've seen out of the crop this year. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous. The combat is fluid. It's beautiful. The world is beautiful. The enemies are really fun. It has a really good. It has a really nice pace to it, and it doesn't hit you over the head with the rogue stuff. It's like, it truly is rogue light, in its rogue aspects. It's not like Rad, which was like, ugh, stop. That, like, you're trying to kill. You are trying to make this hard, so that I have to do this one level over and over again. Whereas in Sparklight, it was, no, you can just farm a little bit if you want to.
Yeah.
And you know how many times I cleared the first and second level without dying at all? Like, I just cleared everything out of it, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'll go back to the ship and I'll cash all this stuff in, and then, hopefully be able to get the next power that I need to move on.
Mm-hmm.
But I really like Sparklight. I think they did a really good job, and I really, really hope that they can either go on with it with a sequel and make it bigger and better. What I would really like to see Sparklight, the guys at Sparklight, do, I would really like for them to translate that to 3D and do like an Ocarina of Time change.
Do you think it would lose some charm in that transition? Because they put so much charm in that pixel art, dude.
You don't have to. I mean, I got serious Dark Cloud vibes from Sparklight.
Right.
And that was a 3D game, and you could totally do, like, the way the stuff that you could do in 3D now. It could be cell shaded. It could still be like, maybe some of this stuff is like pastel, like almost like a pastel painting or something, like an oil painting.
Right, but these guys are very clearly awesome sprite artists.
Sure.
I won't squander that talent. That's hard to come by these days.
Mm.
Like, in a sea of these like retro inspired games, like, the sprite work has to hold up in some ways.
Yeah.
And we could tell a
Yeah.
cheap game from a mile away. Like you're trying to push the nostalgia button, and you're not really pressing it at all.
Mm.
This just smashes it to bits.
Yeah, I'm not sure I disagree
Yeah.
with that. Let's think. I actually want to look at my Switch because I don't know what came out. Like I'm getting things confused because I've been playing so many things from backlogs and stuff. I want to make sure I'm not screwing this up.
Well, I was trying to keep my list kind of diverse. So I didn't want to put the same thing in two different categories, which I don't think it's a bad thing to do, but I just wanted to keep it fresh in every
Okay,
single category.
I'm gonna nominate one other game.
Okay, cool. Go ahead.
And you feel differently from it than I do, but I really think they did a great job with Mistover, and
Okay.
I think the work they put into it, the scale that game is, I think is above the scale of any of the other games we've mentioned. It is a full-fledged, deep RPG that you would see on a PS1 era, I think, RPG type stuff, and it has those deep dungeon runs. It has really, really tough mechanics to really master to be good at that game. Which is why I'm confused of why it didn't really jive with you, because I feel like that's like exactly what you look for in a game.
Mm-hmm.
You want to, have a challenge and master it and like really obsess over it. Which maybe it was just the time of year it came out was when everything else came out and you just didn't have the time for it.
It didn't hook me, which is why I think I was a little bit. It was easy to put to the side for me. I was like, well, I get it, but it's not. I'm not feeling it too much.
Once I started messing around with the permutations of like the formations, like getting extra abilities and powers based on where they're lined up in the formation. Once you get that deep, it becomes addicting, because then you're like, oh, I got this character. I was able to recruit this guy, and now this guy, if I put him behind this one, but also next to this guy, I'll have these 3 new moves, and one of them is like a super crazy move. Like I got into the minutia with that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna put Mistover in here as one of my
All right.
nominees. If you want to add any, you can. If not, we can just.
I'm going to add one more because I can't just have
Okay.
2 in there because you're like an asshole now.
Right.
I'm gonna add Ape Out to my list.
Okay.
Ape Out has some of the most satisfying yet simple gameplay I've ever experienced in a long time. You play as a monkey breaking out of a lab, and you have to go and kill people as you're trying to escape the facility. That's all it is. Simple soundtrack, great art designs, like a graffiti kind of art style. This like kind of top down overhead view. It's fun. It can be hard at times too. Like if you're not careful about your routes, and you can beat it in a day if you really focus on it. But I just loved it. It's a good way to kind of tune out from a really big budget title, and it really shows like what good indie games look like, and how there's
Perfect.
there's room for creativity in the industry. It's still there. It still lives on.
All right.
Yeah.
So our Nindie of the Year nominees are Cadence of Hyrule, Creature in the Well, Ape Out, Sydney Hunter and the Curse of the Mayan, Sparklight, and Mistover. All right, so the next category here is probably my favorite category, and that is Best First Showing. Now, what this is a studio or developer's first major release. Like maybe some of these guys made like a dumb little mobile game or whatever, or like was part of a big team that made something but then split off and made it. This is their first like solo game or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this is. Andy, why don't you start us off with your pick?
Oh, I only have one pick.
Okay.
Because only one came to mind, and
so do you want me to start?
Well, one of
first so
yours
we can
was
sandwich
actually
it?
one of yours was actually on my list here. I just want to repeat it
Okay.
twice.
Okay.
Eagle Island. Holy shit. When there's a debate about if video games should be fun or not when you play them, this game is all fun. It is a side-scrolling. It's kind of like a Metroidvania, but it's not. It's got those roguelike qualities we kind of bitch about, but in a good way. And it's not your traditional like jump and shoot kind of a Mega Man platformer. Because how you can, when you aim your owl to attack your enemies, it gives a whole different dynamic and feel. And once you get the hang of it, it really pays off. And again, it's another pixel art game, but I love pixel art that's done well, and this game does it phenomenally.
Mm.
And it's a game that was 4 years in the making. And I met the dev like over two PAX East and great guy, um, Nick Gregory, I think his name is correct. His full name.
I think so.
Yes, I'm
Sounds
not
right.
that dumb.
I'll scroll down to the
Yes,
list
to the
here.
list. And yeah, it immediately got me hooked.
Yep, Nick Gregory.
Yes. Yeah, it was his first game, and it's a strong showing for a first game. And he says he set the bar really high. So we'll see how it goes for his next outing. But I gotta say, it had emotion, it had heart, addictive gameplay, killer soundtrack. I wish I got to play it after he added some new features to it, because he went back and addressed some things post launch, like with the runes and some of the difficulty.
Get in there.
Well, it's already beaten it like 10 times over, so it's meant to go
Nah.
back, like to find a reason to go back. But unless he adds like a second character or some DLC that's that adds a game changing mechanic, I'm not gonna go back anytime soon. But yeah, it's one of my favorite games of the year. I think it's a good best like first outing for a developer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. It's hard as hell, and I'm not good at it. But yeah, definitely looks it looks up there with the quality of people who've been doing this for years and years and years.
Mhm.
My first nominee is going to be Sparklight again. I think that team's it's really their first major project. They've done some smaller things. I've already spoken on that in the last category. So my other nominee in this category is Wide Right Interactive's Freedom Finger.
Oh, that was my other one. I wasn't gonna say.
I think Freedom Finger might be the best like effort from somebody making a game for the first time with the quality. Everything's hand drawn. The quality voice actors that they got for that. The music is absolutely incredible. Marrying the music to the action was brilliant. It's funny as hell. It's simple, but they iterated on the simple mechanics with like something I can't believe we've never seen before, grabbing the enemies and using them as weapons. And you play as a middle finger.
Yeah, they can punch and uppercut enemy ships too.
What a great showing from them, man. I hope that they tackle other genres and are just as funny and outlandish and crazy, and I hope that they have this, the same reach as far as getting voice talent and music and stuff like that.
And you get Nolan North in your first game. That's kind of a big deal.
It is kind of a big deal.
Not many games can say that.
And what is it? D'Amiglio, right?
Yeah.
What was his name? John D'Amiglio? I don't remember. I used to go to a school with a kid named his last name was DiMaggio or yeah, there was a DiMaggio and then there was a Gigliano. I don't know. I get very confused. All these names get confused. All right, so those are the nominees. So for best first showing, we have Eagle Island, Sparklight, and Freedom Finger. Then we have multiplayer game of the year, and I actually have a couple here. I only put one in the doc, but I'll let you start off with yours.
It's a game that I wish I played more of this year, had the chance to play more of, and that's Killer Queen Black. Because it takes the Killer Queen classic that we all know and love. It evolved a formula for more of an SNES mentality, kind of a style format. And yes, there are some minor sacrifices given the player count. I think it's cut down to 3 or 4 from, I think it was at 8 in the arcade game version.
Yeah,
if I'm not mistaken.
10?
Or is it 10?
It's 10.
But yeah, it's a really fun party game. It's when you have some friends around. I can't think of a better go-to game than Killer Queen Black. It's like it really captures like that arcade spirit,
Mm-hmm.
and you'd be hard pressed to find that kind of feeling anywhere else. Uh, in a Switch game, there aren't that many. Like I was trying to think of a good set of multiplayer games that came out this year. Yours kind of look okay, but yeah, is that a co-op game though? Because I was gonna throw on Cuphead on there too as a co-op game. Um,
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
yeah.
co-op,
All
competitive, it
right,
doesn't matter.
that's my second pick then. Cuphead.
Multiplayer.
My second pick, Cuphead.
All right, well, you talk about Cuphead later.
Sure.
My first nominee is Duck Game.
Duck game.
Woo!
Love that duck game.
Duck Game was so much fun, man. We should play that a lot more, especially on stream. I played with Snowbike Mike a few times. He's hilarious. It's a single screen, chase him down, kill him, and you quack at each other and wear zany costumes and funny weapons, and it's just such a blast. If you haven't played Duck Game, it's cheap. Buy it. It's so much fun. It's like a Tower Fall type game. It's a blast.
Ducks and shotguns.
All right, so you're gonna go with Cuphead next.
I mean, come on. Cuphead is fucking amazing.
Yeah, and I guess it's infinitely easier and better and more fun to play with somebody else, right?
I feel like it's kind of like a Battletoads for the new age because it's not easy. It's easier with two people, but if you're not coordinated or if you're both not good at platforming or timing them jumps,
Mm.
you can get wrecked pretty easily.
True.
And I'm the guy that's like always judging the other player. That's why I stopped playing games with the fiance because I would get mad.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of that guy. I'm the asshole in the room. But
Shocking.
yeah, shy. Who knew? But yeah, Cuphead is a great game for two players, and that DLC looks incredible. Want more of that shit?
My next one is a little bit more than 2 players. It's 99 players.
Oh,
And
God.
that's Tetris 99. Holy hell. Tetris 99 is the perfect video game. Full stop. You don't have to make any more. They did it. They figured it out. Perfect. It's Tetris. It's a battle royale. It's nerve-wracking. Your heart will jump out of your chest.
Do you go back after that for Tetris? This is it,
I mean, Tetris Effect is pretty good.
But yeah, that's like a good VR game,
Yeah.
and that involves the Tetris, standard. Then you make a Tetris battle royale, which is insanity.
There's no place to
This
go
is
from
it.
here.
There's nowhere else to go for Tetris.
We did it.
We did it. We did all the Tetris.
You could do a reverse battle royale where you just play there by yourself and then one person joins your game and then you're playing and then a third person joins and then a fourth and then it just keeps getting more and more ridiculous. But everybody's game is starting off the same way. So you both start off solo and then you join and then, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And then whoever has the most points at the end of a timer, after 1 minute after the 100th person joins, whoever has the most points wins.
Okay.
Tetris 100. I did it. And I don't know if you have another one, but my final one is Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
Yeah, it's a good game.
That was a lot of fun. It's great multiplayer. I think they did the multiplayer fantastically in that game. Being able to just drop in and out and yeah, you have to play the guy who's the furthest behind story, but that's fine. Who cares? The game is such a blast to play that it doesn't really matter. You get through that stuff really quick. The enemies scale, so if I'm level 50 and you're level 20, the enemies will still be level 50 to me and level 20 to you, but we're gonna do the damage that we do, and it's percentages. It's not whatever. So it's great. It's a great game. Totally worth it. I'm very happy the game came out this year. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
The next category is tough, because it's something that you don't really pay attention to, but it's the publisher of the year.
Right.
And so you have like a 505 Games who had Bloodstained, which is obviously not on this list. for many reasons, mostly that the Switch version sucks.
That's the only reason.
Digerati puts out a million games. Devolver put out some great ones. And some of these games I just don't know the publisher of. I think Adult Swim Games did Freedom Finger. Do you have a nominee for this?
I don't. I couldn't think of one.
Hmm.
Like Nintendo seems like a nice choice, but I feel like it could be something else I could think of, but I can't put my freedom finger on it.
Yeah, I put Nintendo because I think with the games that they had this year, which were not 10 out of 10s, like the games they put out Pokemon, Luigi's Mansion,
They were
Astral
solid.
Chain.
Yeah.
Yeah, Astral Chain, Daemon X Machina, Marvel Ultimate Alliance. There was another one that they had this year. Shoot, came out in March. I'm blanking. Damn. Oh, I guess it wasn't that important. I just think Nintendo, with the titles that they had their best year hardware wise, and they made the best out of those titles. I think they pushed them really well, really well. And they took chances. Every game that came out this year was a chance. It was a gamble, except for Pokemon. Right?
Yeah, they played it kind of safe.
But like everything else was like really just a roll of the die and just see what happens. Am I wrong?
I don't know. Like, did they take any big chances this year?
Yeah. Luigi banking your fall game aside from Pokemon on Luigi's Mansion?
Well, I mean, that wasn't really
not having something with Zelda, Mario, or Samus on it as your big game. I mean, yes, they had Pokemon. Pokemon was the safest thing they could have done, but like they padded around Pokemon with Luigi's Mansion and 2 brand new IP.
Right, but you also got a lot of Smash DLC this year as well.
Oh, the Kirby game,
right.
and Yoshi's Bullshit World.
Right, Yoshi's Bullshit World. It was always going to be like a B tier year for Nintendo, aside from Pokemon. And I think,
right, but look what they did with that B tier,
Right, but Pokemon carried the year for them. So did they have to be risky? Yeah, they didn't have to. They could have done nothing all year, and it's the Pokemon. That could have been it for them. 6 million copies in less than a week. It's like you could have done nothing else but that. And you would have been fine. That and the Switch Lite.
But they still gave us 6 incredible games.
They did.
Or really good games.
They did. Which weren't flops by any definition, but they weren't like massive global bestsellers either.
I think Luigi's Mansion is going to be up there.
It was.
Where did it fall? It was first when it came out.
Right, but they got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah.
Like it's not your mainline Mario game. I think it did like over 1 million in sales, or close to 2.
Yeah,
more or less.
All right, so now we did the Nindie of the year. Now we're going to do the Nintendo game of the year. So all the games that we mentioned that Nintendo put out, I'm nominating Pokemon Shield. Because I'm obsessed with it. I can't put it, like, if I put it down, it's because I'm forced to. I think that's. Oh, there was also Link's Awakening they did this year too,
and also Mario Maker 2.
Yeah, there were a lot of games.
Yes,
they did a good job.
They did a good job. Not a lot of risks though. I'm saying there were
Mario Maker 2 is my other nominee.
Yeah, well, that was my other nominee. But I'll go Link's Awakening.
Okay. And then you have another one on the stock.
Astral Chain, baby.
Yeah.
Because Astral Chain, I think it really helps capture that the secret sauce of Nintendo is how they can, for me, they will always be the ones that put out the must-have first-party games. The Mario, Zelda, and Metroid. The trifecta for me. Those are like the most reliable series when it comes to Nintendo. And they will be the reason why I always own a Nintendo console. But to see how influential the Switch is, how it can help court third-party support, and to see a game like Astral Chain have the likes of Platinum Games making this amazing experience. Like, I like how it's not a half-assed third-party game. Like, oh, here you go. Here's just some third-party game for the Switch that looks pretty, but it's like generic as all fuck. Not the case here. This game, it looks and plays like a AAA experience on the Switch.
Mm.
Now, I don't care for the quiet protagonist. This game could have used like a little bit more personality with the main character. I'm not a fan of that. I don't see the need for it here because everyone's kind of talks at them for the whole game, which I kind of don't like as much. Like, just fucking say something during the game. But the gameplay is pure sex. It's the best way I can describe it. It
Okay.
is hot boiling jungle monkey sex. This gameplay. It is that good. Just like swiping enemies, using a little astral fucking legion companion to like tie them down or like rope around them or fucking strangle them to death. It's so good. And it's got an amazing soundtrack to boot. And it's what Nintendo should do more of come 2020, because I feel, given the next gen noise of PS5 and Scarlet, they need more of this stuff to keep drawing in fans and to make sure they have a rightful place in the conversation. Because yes, they have Mario and Zelda and Metroid and Kirby and Pokemon and those games and Smash. I get it. Standards. We all know and love those games. But those couldn't carry the Wii U.
Right.
Now,
Well,
there's a
they
huge...
didn't have Pokemon.
Right. They didn't. Now, there's a huge install base for Switch. It's like pushing 50 million units worldwide. So it's a success. It's very successful. But they need more games like Astral Chain to show that they're not just resting on their laurels too much. Because, like you said, games like Luigi's Mansion, they're great, but they're still in that B category, that B tier level of games, like your Kirby, like your Toad's Treasure Tracker, or the fuck that game is called. So having this in their corner,
Captain Toad.
Captain
to
Toad,
you.
yes,
He has rank.
having these also, like, essentially, Bayonetta 3 will be hopefully next year's Astral Chain.
God,
So,
where is that game?
I don't know. Where the fuck has it been all our lives? I'm hoping this time next year we talking about Bayonetta 3. I'm hoping.
Hmm.
I doubt it.
I'm hoping we're talking about a remaster of the Metroid Prime trilogy.
If that's not out by like Q1 next year, I'll be disappointed.
Mario Maker 2 is amazing.
Dude, that game's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah. I just want to say that. We don't need to tell you about it.
That's a good party game too, believe it or not.
Yeah.
It's not multiplayer. It is multiplayer. It has a co-op option for 4 players. So yeah, it kind of counts as a multiplayer game.
Sure.
Throw it in there as well.
Remember when you couldn't play with your friends? Fucking morons. Totally thinking.
Oh, and they got that Zelda Master Sword DLC coming out for that soon. You play as Link.
Mm.
He's got moves and shit. Kind of cool. He throws bombs, got a little boomerang action, a little stabby stab with the sword. It's pretty good.
So you have a category here, hype game of the year.
Yeah,
What are we putting here, bud?
there is a game I want to mention. Hold on. I gotta find it. The exact full title. Where is it? Shit. Oh, is it here? Here it is. Did it come out this year? I think it did.
This is live, ladies and gentlemen.
This is
I'm
the
getting this
hype
nomination
game of the
live.
year.
Here it is.
There can be only one. And it has to go to Monster Energy Supercross 2, the official video game.
Wow. Which turns out that is a prequel to Death Stranding. Incredible. Incredible. All right, so before we get into the Retro Game Club, which we are doing, because I am not letting you get out
Okay.
of this.
You have one,
about a
right? 'Cause
sponsor.
I was last
I
week.
do.
Okay,
No,
cool.
I have one. This week's sponsor, well, every week's sponsor, is Melted Pins. If you don't know what Melted Pins now is by now, you're an idiot, and I hope you stub your toe. No, I'm just joshing. Artist Kelsey Lynn does tattoo art inspired merchandise, stickers, pins, enamel pins, buttons, canvas bags, stuff like that. And if you go to meltedpins.com and you put NDS Melted in the promo code there, you get 10% off your purchase. Kelsey Lynn has done art for multiple podcasts all around the world, websites. She's done stuff for Kinda Funny proper. She does the art for Kinda Funny and Kinda NYC, which is like the fan group for Kinda Funny. Super talented artist. Has done work for us as well, and will continue to do so because we love her and we love her art. So yeah, go to meltedpins.com and use the checkout code NDSMelted and get 10% off your purchase. Follow Melted Pins on social media at Melted Pins. That's at Melted Pins. And now, Andy, for the ending of the show, it is time to get into the Retro Game Club.
Oh, shit.
For those of you that are new, this is how the game is played. I'm going to give Andy 10 clues, one by one. And after each clue, Andy could venture a guess or not, because he only gets 3 total guesses. And then he loses and gets 0 points if he doesn't get it in those 3 guesses. If he gets it in the first clue, he gets 10 points. The second clue, 9 points, and so on and so forth. Are you ready, Andy?
I was born ready.
If you ask a yes or no question, you forfeit one of your guesses.
Okay.
Okay. This single-player game is comprised of multiple genre of video game.
Ooh, multiple genre, you say?
Multiple genre. Which kind of gives the game just the generic, like, action title, but it has multiple genre built into it.
Right, because you could have, like, an action RPG, which has, like...
Right.
Or, like, look at, for example, ActRaiser. That's sort of multiple genre. You have your world-building,
Correct.
God Sim, and your side-scrolling platformer. Excuse me.
Yes.
Okay, that's a great first clue.
Mm-hmm.
I'll have another.
Second clue. Some of these genre include side-scrolling, beat 'em up.
Okay.
First-person shooting.
Beat 'em up. Okay.
Overhead shooting. Like top-down shooting. Etc. Etc.
Can you repeat all those genres one more time? You had
side-scrolling action. It's like side-scrolling, like combat action.
like a Contra kind of situation.
Maybe. Top-down shooter and first-person shooter.
Top-down shooter.
You know, like Akari Warriors.
Right.
Contra has 2 genre.
Contra had a top-down shooter and a side-scrolling portion.
Correct.
It's gotta be... I'm trying to think. Because some games of old had, like... They would switch from one to the other sometimes. Like, here's your this, and then there's stage 2A had, like, this going on, for example. Okay. All right. Next clue.
There are 2. This is clue number 3.
Yes.
There are 2 bars at the top of the screen. If either of them runs out, you die.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. 2 bars. have a yes or no question.
Okay, you will forfeit one of your answers and get your next clue.
Was this game on the NES Entertainment System
Uh-huh.
or the Nintendo Entertainment or the NES?
Yes, it was.
Okay. All right. Next.
Your next clue. This game takes place underground in the
Ooh.
future, except now it is our past.
Huh. There's a game that comes to mind, but
What's the Google telling
I
you?
don't think you'd know this game. So I don't think it's it. I want to say Time Lord, but I don't think you know Time Lord.
Wow, you pulling Time Lord out?
I don't think you fucking know Time Lord.
You think I don't know about Time Lord? Okay.
I don't think you know Time Lord.
Okay.
uh,
Mm.
I'll be real, all I can think of is Time Lord.
Okay.
Because I remember the two health bar things sounds familiar to me. And there was a whole thing where like you would start in the future, but you were set back to the past as like a plot thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh shit! All right, I'm gonna guess Time Lord. If it's not time, I'm spinning with ideas. So is it Time Lord?
You think I don't know about Time Lord?
Is it
You're
legit
right.
Time Lord?
No, you're right. I don't know anything about
Okay.
Time Lord, and I would not choose that game. So no, it is not Time Lord. You're down to one guess. All right. I don't know what number clue this is.
This is your
I lost count.
fourth clue.
I don't think so. I think it's the fifth.
No, you said it was a multi-genre game. You said it was here are the genres. You said it's in the future, but you go in the past. This is your fourth clue.
And then Underground.
Underground, yes. So it's your fifth clue. Go ahead. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
It's an NES game, that's for sure. I know that one.
Yes. In order for a boss to show up, you have to fill another meter.
Oh man. In order for a boss to show. This sounds familiar. Oh my god.
I'm sorry, in order for the boss to be they it's hard to explain, but in order for you to defeat the boss, you actually have to raise a meter and not deplete a meter. It's a weird mechanic.
Okay, next clue, please.
Okay. Okay. The plot of this game, there are mysterious and unexplained earthquakes that start just before the new millennium. And you are sent to investigate after multiple other investigative teams do not return.
Fuck. It sounds so familiar. I really don't know. Like so many things are clicking, like the health bar thing, the 2-bar thing, the multi-genre thing. Now this with the plot. Fuck, I'm gonna hate myself so bad if I don't get this.
So that was 6 clues, right?
Yeah, go next. I can't. I'm struggling here. What the fuck is this? Sounds so familiar.
The main title of this game is only on the cover and in the manual, and is not mentioned at all in the actual game.
Okay.
Mostly because it was changed from its Japanese name.
I'm so stumped here. Shit. Makes things. Oh fuck! What is this? Okay. Next clue. Was the last clue? How many clues have left?
That was clue 8,
Oh God.
I think. Um, the mysterious occurrence causing the earthquakes
Yes.
is because there's 2 mysterious subterranean human races at war under the Earth's crust.
Yeah, I don't know what this is.
Clue number 9. The subtitle of this game
Uh-huh.
is a very popular book and movie.
Oh fuck. Oh man. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what this is. You got me, dude. You got me.
I want to make sure I didn't misspeak that it was. Yeah, it is a book. Okay.
You got me.
The
I'm totally drawing a blank here.
This game is named after a subterranean member of the animal kingdom, plus a movie starring Will Ferrell. No, not Will Ferrell. I'm sorry. He did the other one. It was oh wait, no, didn't he do this one too?
Groundhog Day?
No, it's Brendan Fraser. I'm sorry, Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser. I really don't know. Yeah. What's this game?
0 points.
0 points. What is this?
The game
Yes.
is Worm: Journey to the Center of the Earth.
Oh God, I would never have gotten that.
Released in 1991, Worm is a game with different styles of play, side-scrolling travel stages and vehicles, overhead shooting levels where you go side to side and explore ruins, first-person shooting levels with boss monsters, and the meter is a probability meter. For some reason, you had to get the probability meter up to 100% before you could kill the boss. I don't know why. You get more characters over time as well, but that they don't. You kind of just swap between them. So this game was the first game my grandpa bought us from Funko Land. He was like, I bought this game for you. Here, have it. And we were like, okay.
Did he hate you?
No, it's a pretty good game.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
I've played it before.
Nintendo Power gave the game a 4 out of 5.
What the fuck do they know?
Game Pro gave it a 3 out of 5.
That sounds believable. That sounds like a mediocre game to me. I gotta look at some gameplay. What does this shit look like? Is it like Worm? Like W-O?
W-U-R-M.
Can't even spell the word worm right. All right. Look at this fucking shit game you gave me for the week.
It's got good sprites.
I'm sure it does.
Anyway.
Oh,
that is
no.
gonna bring us. It's a good game. It's tough, but it's a good game. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. That is bringing us to the end of this wonderful episode. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, if you want to follow us on social media, you could do so. We are at NDS Podcast, which that might change in the new year when we get the new show up and running. I was toying around with it, but I didn't hit submit because I wanted Andy's approval first. I am at Batchild27. Andy is at PantsGuy. And you can follow our Facebook group, or join our Facebook group, rather, at facebook.com/groups/Dual Screens Podcast. That is no longer NDS Podcast. It's now Dual Screen Podcast. Dual Screens Podcast? I don't know if it's screens or screen. Try them both. You could go follow our Twitch channel at twitch.tv/Dual Screen Streams. Thank you to our contributors, Zazu Pitts of Sour Note Productions, for our theme song, 16-Bit Attack. Thank you, Matt Murray, for everything you've done for us. You know what it is. Thank you, Dan Clona, for our Nintendo Dual Screens logo, which we will be retiring at the end of the year. We love you. And Andrew Douglas, thank you so much for everything that you've done for us as well. All of our cartoon art that you do of us. It's fantastic. We love it. It's our brand now. So thank you. Remember, if you want to buy some merchandise, go to teespring.com/dual screens. I think it's Dual Screen Shop. I'm going to put that in here. I believe that's what it is. I changed it because we have more merch up there, like more stuff. Let me see. I'm going to copy and paste this. We did We have stuff for our new show, the Dual Screens podcast. Dual Screens. It's not shop. Dual Screens? I don't know. I don't remember what it was. Damn it. Andy, you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
All right.
I was
Oh,
watching
there it
a
is. Yeah,
video
it's
of I can't get my eyes
okay.
off of it.
It's good, man. I
It
think
looks okay-ish.
It's in your
The soundtrack sucks though.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not a good soundtrack.
it's in your what do you call it? Your zip drive.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. They have all the fucking games. But oh god, it's all right. I'll give it a shot. I will give it a shot.
It's Dual Screens shop, but there's a dash between dual and screens and shop. So it's like dual dash screens dash shop. That's how you get to it. And you can find our items there. We got a dual and by the way, the Dual Screens podcast stuff, it's not all purple. It's all the colors, and for whatever reason it defaults to show you the purple version of it. I don't know why. But it's a cool logo and I like the merch. So yeah, go do that. And remember, if you want to listen to this show's any of our NDS podcast or NDS Gamescast pre or post show shenanigans, head over to patreon.com. Give us at least, what is it, $5, and you get access to the pre or post show. Patreon.com/NDS podcast. Andy, is there anything you want to tell the kids before we go?
I love you all so much. Stay tuned for next week's show. Talk about game news and stuff, and also the Dual Screens podcast coming at you live on Thursday. That's also a thing we do now.
Yep, every Thursday.
Don't know yet.
Podcast. Yep, we're still waiting on confirmation for our guest, so it'll be just as shocking to us. That's it, folks. This has been Nintendo Dual Screens, episode 130 for the week of December 9th, 2019. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you, Andy, for joining me as always. I finally stumped you. I've done it.
You have. You've done it before. Not the first time.
I think it might be the first time.
No, you've stumped plenty of times.
Until next time, take care, and as always, please be excellent to each other.